Welcome to Adobe Flash Pro. These lessons are all going to be based in ActionScript 2. Okay, so when you open up Adobe Flash, you will get this little splash screen, and you click on AS2 or ActionScript 2.0, and it'll open you up into this screen. If you accidentally click the wrong one, you can change it right here under Properties. You can change your language or your script. Okay, a bit of geography. This area right here, this is called the stage, and this is where we do most of our work on. This area down here is called the timeline, obviously because it says timeline right there. And it's got all our different frames and our layers. And this area here is the properties pane. This is where we can change the settings of our different tools and stuff. So just say I change to these tools on the side here. You'll notice the property pane changes. Okay, and when we create objects and import, media, they all come into the library, which is up here, right next to properties. Okay, but today we're going to focus on these drawing tools here. Alright, I'm going to show you how to use the drawing and shape tools now. So the first one I'm going to show you is the this rectangle tool, and if you click on the bottom right hand corner of it and hold, you'll see that there are other shapes you can create, but we'll start off with the rectangle tool. So just like the other tools, there are stroke and fill options. Stroke is the outside, fill is the inside. So if I drew a square out here, you'll notice green inside, red outside. Okay, and we can disable either of these. So if I wanted no stroke, I could just choose that up here with the white box and the red line through it, and this will just create a fill object with no stroke on the outside. Okay, and of course you can do that the other way around as well. Press Ctrl Z to undo. That's what I just did then. So if I wanted to just have a solid outline with no fill, I could just do that, and that creates that for me. Okay, now I'll choose one other option, the Polystar one. This one's kind of fun because it's very versatile. I'm going to make it red, and I'm not going to put any stroke. And I'm going to go down to here and draw a star. Now you can change all these settings. So at the moment I've got lots of different points happening. But if I go to options, this is where I can change everything. So you can change it into a polygon, and maybe make that have 8 sides. And now as I draw that, it'll, I think that's a hexagon or something like that. Octagon, because it's got 8 sides, there you go. Awesome maths. But I could make it a star and make it have 50 sides. And now it's just going to be a very complicated looking star. Okay, so quite a versatile tool there. Alright, so just press undo a few times to get rid of those. And now we have the pencil, the brush, and the pen tools. All pretty much do the same kind of thing. Don't worry too much about the pen tool, it's probably not really needed that much, but the pencil tool, that'll just allow you to draw lines. You'll notice that they automatically get smoothed, and that's an Adobe thing for smoothing, and you can change how much you want it to be smoothed as well. And the brush tool is similar to the pen tool, but a little bit thicker by default, and also modifiable smoothing there. So if I cranked up the smoothing, it becomes much smoother, and I could also turn it down as well to 0, so there's very little smoothing happening as well. Okay, so that's that tool there. Undo those, or you can delete it all, but I usually just press Ctrl Z to undo. Next we have the Deco tool. Now this one's sort of it'll create repeating patterns. So I'm just going to choose this vine fill, and I've chosen the leaves to be green and the flowers to be red, and now if I just click in the middle, it'll just repeat this pattern until it runs out of space. Okay, so if you want to make a background or something, that's kind of useful for that. Undo that, and I'll let you have a play around with all the different effects there. There's a whole ton of them. The bone tool isn't really used in ActionScript 2, so just forget about that. The fill tool, it just fills an object area with a color, but you obviously can't do it on a background here. I can click all I want, nothing will happen. I have to have a shape to draw into. And so if I want to change the background color of my stage, I would have to use the selection tool up the top. And then you'll see here in the properties stage color, I can change it there. But we'll leave it on white for now. So what can I actually fill? Well, I could draw a shape like we made before with no fill. and now I could decide to fill this area here. Anything with enclosed edges really can be filled. So I'm going to change this to blue, and we filled it with blue. Okay, I could also draw my own shape, my own custom shape. I'll make it black just to make it clear to see. So if I made something like this, now I could fill it with a color of my choice. Okay, now sometimes if you haven't jointed on close enough, so sometimes people will draw a shape and they'll get right to there and they won't actually connect. It won't work, obviously. It needs to be solid before it lets you fill. It needs to be a fully outlined shape. Alright, eyedropper tool, that just picks a color for you. So whatever's on your stage can be picked. And the eraser tool just rubs stuff out. Alright, line tool, there you go. So this one draws lines for you. You can increase the size of it, or you can change the style of the line as well, make it maybe this raggedy looking line, which makes a bit more sense when we make the stroke bigger. So there are different line tools you can use. The text tool, this is just like any other text tool. You draw a box, then you start writing. So there you go, and you can change all the settings here just like any other text editing program. There's a few more settings down here as well on the paragraph, but they're all pretty straightforward. I'm not going to bother showing you those. Alright, next up I'm going to show you how to use these selection and manipulation tools. Okay, so first up, this is the selection tool, the most used tool, and we're going to draw a box around everything. Or you can press Control A and that will just choose everything too, and then press delete. Okay, that will get rid of everything we've done there so far. So what I want you to do now is just create a normal shape. I don't really mind what it is as long as it's pretty simple. I'm going to use a polygon with 5 sides, and I'm going to draw it here in the middle. So using my selection tool, I'm going to select just the middle, and to do that, so I just want the blue fill area. If I just click on that area, I'll get it by itself, and you can tell it's been selected because of the white dots. But the black area on the outside has not been chosen because that hasn't been highlighted. If I was to double click, that would choose everything, or if I drew a box around everything, that would also choose everything. Okay, and that's how, now if I click and drag I can move it around. If I want to just choose one of the lines that makes up this shape, I could grab it individually by clicking on it, and then I could move it away. Just say I wanted to get rid of this line, or maybe add to the shape on this side, I could do that. Let's press undo. Now likewise, as your mouse moves over individual edges, you'll notice that the little curve appears underneath your pointer, and that allows you to manipulate the edges of your shape. So if I was to click and drag that out, I'm creating a bend and the color automatically fills it. I could bend it the other way as well, and you can see you can play around with the shapes quite significantly. Yeah, and of course you can always bend them back as well. Okay, so that's some simple selection stuff right there. We can also select part of the object, and you can see it's only selected, and then you can move it away, and so you can make a cut. So you can always select bits and pieces and get some crazy Picasso looking thing happening with all your abstract selections. Okay, alright, so just say Control A and then delete again. That's the selection tool. Let's draw another shape for us, and now I'm going to show how to rotate things. So with the object selected that we just drew, by double clicking or drawing a box around it, choose the third tool from the top. This is the free transform tool. This will allow us to shrink or grow our object, and once again, if we were to hold shift while we were shrinking and growing, it would grow in perfect proportions. Okay, so that's how you can adjust the size, but we can also rotate our shape as well. So with it selected, you move your mouse to the edge, just past the edge of the box, and you'll notice your mouse turns into this little rotating circle, and you can rotate that. And I've only selected the inner part of my object, so I should really double click it and then rotate it so it all rotates. Okay, and if I want to rotate it on a exactly 45-degree angle, I hold shift and it rotates in 45-degree increments. So if I want it to be exact, I hold shift. Okay, so that's selection and rotation. 3D rotation isn't used in ActionScript 2, so don't worry. And then the lasso tool, this allows us to select individual parts within a shape. And I could move that around if I wanted, or I could just delete it. Yeah, so that's the lasso tool. And last of all, we got this one up here, which is the sub selection tool. This allows you to change really minor things. So now that I've got this shape selected, I can play around with the edges and change the size and shape of the shape that I've created. Okay, so those are your selection tools, and you've done the shape tools as well. So what I want you to do now is create a stage that just has your name on it using the text tool, and then some various shapes and patterns, and that will demonstrate that you know how to use all the different tools that we have learnt. And once you're done, you can save and move on to the next task.